Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, including Dr. Markle. Um, if you'll turn to tab I in your reports, I have several individual school reports, but the Gilmer report is last among those. I'll try to go through the report fairly quickly. You had asked me to go to Gilmer County Schools to investigate complaints, and the main thing that attracted us to Gilmer County was their lack of a comprehensive education facilities plan that had been approved. When we went, we also examined high quality standards for county boards as well. Mrs. Starkey earlier had mentioned about some of the performance data, and that's included. I'll not go over that again, other than to say that elementary math's about the state average, high school math's above the state average, elementary reading language arts below the state average, and high school reading language arts above. Other little data, some of their SAT scores, some increasing, some declining, some stable. Their ACT Explorer is about the state average. The ACT plan results are near the state average as well. Attendance rate meets standards, as does the graduation rate. The ACT scores are above the state average. However, there's no AP test takers at the high school. Their graduation rate is below the state average. Not the graduation, but the college going rate. Looking at the students enrolled in developmental courses, there is the percentage in developmental English is about 6% higher than the state average. It's about 10% higher in developmental math, with over a third of their kids requiring remediation when going to college. Looking at the high quality standards, the first area regarding technology, we felt that they had some ineffective strategies in planning for the technology, and as a result of that, there's been some substandard building capacity within the system to implement instructional technology. The county has not provided sufficient training to meet that first level technical support. There's been a falling out, a climate of distrust regarding technology between the Gilmer County school system, or at least the Board of Education, and the department and RESA 7, and that dispute has been long-standing. The department has made several recommendations in the past regarding that, and their advice largely has been ignored. We go through a list, school by school, indicating where we saw some of the problems with the technology infrastructure in the county. We also commented on 7.21, that's the electronic strategic plan. County board members were not involved in the plan and were mostly not aware of the plan's content. Relative to finances, we found some payments were being issued without an itemized invoice. There were 4 or 5 vendors there, 4 at least vendors. One of those lacked some competitive bids for services being provided. We commented on a principal that had retired but then was hired as a contract employee, which would be very difficult to justify. There's a lot of IRS rules regarding that, and then they hired him as a contract employee half-time. We didn't believe that met the law as such. We also found the policy lacking to guide fiscal management of the district level finances. We had a couple of different suggestions, but it has been decentralized in the county, and that's why you get some irregularities. Looking at their facilities, and this is one of the bigger areas in the county that needs attention, to indicate that there's only one full-time maintenance staff just begins to open it up to discussion. But facility conditions in 3 of their schools are not good. A lot of issues with HVAC systems. The county is currently ineligible for SBA funding because it does not have an approved CEFP. We went school by school talking about those facility issues, and I would point out that in addition to Normantown School, it has been condemned, and they're using portables there, but Troy and Sand Fork are also old buildings that have a lot of deficiencies, and those are pretty much described there, as well as some of their access deficiencies. We also, it came to our attention, although we were not necessarily looking at the instructional programs in the county, it came to our attention that their physical education program were not, the students in the elementary schools were not receiving their 30 minutes of phys ed for not less than 3 days a week, and no alternative program had been provided for that. Under personnel, it's another area that we felt was deficient. The hiring process was handled by several individuals, mostly principals and people at the county office level. And those folks didn't appear to have much training in the hiring process, and little documentation was available for us to verify whether or not the most qualified candidate was being selected. We outlined as many of those that we could find any date on. For example, there was one that there were 5 individuals applied, but we did find a matrix for 2 of them that disregarded out-of-county applicants. Another one, we found a matrix. There were 12 applicants, only 2 names though on the matrix, and they had some issues with that particular posting, and the individual was not employed. The first one, the second one was, and they ended up in the end of it though hiring a video journalism teacher being taught by a non-certified individual. Another place, the superintendent had recommended candidate A. Board turned it down. Next applicant on the list, B, was asked for. That person was a daughter of one of the board members. Just looks badly. There was a principal vacancy at Normantown Elementary Schools. We were pretty sure that they had not. Superintendent had probably recommended the most highly qualified applicant in that case, but the board turned it down and wanted someone who lacked principal experience that was a local person. So that goes on and on. We had a lot of suggestions. They had come up with a new matrix, and we had offered up some suggestions. We found several certification and authorization issues for a small county. We listed all of those. Quite a few coaches, their authorizations had expired or lacked those coaching authorizations. On page 35 and 36, we list several issues that surfaced on a random review of personnel evaluations relative to observations or timeliness of that process. We reviewed their county policies, found some discrepancies there, and not a huge area, but there are some problems with some of their policies. And For example, a policy on substance abuse was not available.